Hi everybody, I'm Father Drew, and today we're talking about doing work. Children's moment. Yeah! So today's story about Jesus is a little interesting, right? It starts because Jesus saying some stuff that the chief priests in the temple don't really like to hear, and they don't know who this guy is. So they come up to him and they ask him, why? Who gives you the right to do what you're doing? Which is an interesting question because Jesus throws it back in their face. So one of the things that Jesus does is he uses this example I think would be really interesting to explore. He says, a man had two sons. He went to the first and said, "Son, go and work in the vineyard today." He answered, "I will not." But later he changed his mind and went. The father went to the second and said the same, and he answered, "I go, sir." But he did not go. Which of the two did the will of his father? And they're like, oh, of course, the first one. He did the will of the father because even though he said he wasn't going to go do it, he was insubordinate. What does he do? He ends up going anyway and doing the work. Whereas the other guy, he was like, sure, of course, I'm going to do it. And then he doesn't show up. I think a lot of people would naturally know which of these two is the one who is doing the will of the Father. I think it's obvious, the one who actually did it. I think a lot of us would have a harder time recognizing part of what the struggle in this story is that we don't always know what the will of the Father is. And so sometimes people are running around saying, I think I'm doing the right thing, I'm being a good person, but they aren't always paying attention to who God is inviting them to be. At the same time, there are a lot of people who run around thinking, oh, I'm terrible, right? But they end up doing some of the most remarkable things. Now, of those two, who do you think is the one that God is most excited to help and support and recognize? Of course, the one who's doing all the good things. So part of part of what's tricky for us is recognizing first when we're doing all the stuff that we ought to be doing and being able to celebrate in that. Second, it's hard when we think we're not doing stuff, and sometimes we actually are. We just need people to help us remember that. And third, sometimes we're running around being all like, I'm awesome. And we need people to remind us, well, maybe it's time to go back and remember some of what God has invited us to do. What are some of those things? What are some of the things that we remember we're supposed to do? We're supposed to love. We're supposed to forgive. We're supposed to be generous. We're supposed to believe with hope so we recognize each other. We're supposed to give generously to each other and to be able to support those who don't have what we have. All of those things are the things we're supposed to do. So when we're doing them, we're the ones doing the will of the Father. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you again soon.